Have you ever wondered what happened to the great empires of the past? The Romans, the Egyptians, the Maya, they built incredible cities, developed complex societies, and then they vanished. It's like they were giants walking the earth, leaving behind only colossal footprints for us to marvel at. What causes a civilization to rise to such amazing heights, only to crumble into dust? Let us take a journey back in time and explore the epic stories of the rise and fall of ancient civilizations. It all starts with a spark. Usually, it's agriculture. Once our ancestors figured out how to domesticate plants and animals, they could stop wandering and settle down. This is the game changer. Think about ancient Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Around 10,000 years ago, people there started farming. Suddenly, there was a surplus of food. Not everyone had to be a farmer anymore. This freed people up to become artisans, priests, soldiers, and leaders. Villages grew into towns, and towns grew into the world's first cities. Like Ur. With cities came innovation. The Sumerians in Mesopotamia gave us writing, the wheel, and even the 60-second minute we still use today. They built massive temples called ziggurats and created complex legal codes. A stable food supply allowed for a population boom, and a larger population could support specialized labor and grand construction projects. This is the rise phase. A civilization is like a snowball rolling downhill, gaining momentum and size. It develops a unique culture, a strong government, a powerful military, and expands its influence. Look at ancient Egypt. For nearly 3,000 years, this civilization thrived along the Nile River. The predictable annual flooding of the Nile deposited fertile silt, making agriculture incredibly reliable. This stability allowed the Egyptians to focus on other things, like building the pyramids, developing hieroglyphics, and creating a sophisticated religion centered around their pharaohs, who were seen as gods on earth. Their centralized government and shared culture created a unified and resilient society that lasted for millennia. They were a powerhouse, a beacon of stability in the ancient world. Similarly, on the other side of the Atlantic, the Maya civilization flourished in the jungles of Mesoamerica. They weren't a single unified empire, but a network of powerful city-states like Tikal. The Maya were brilliant astronomers and mathematicians. They developed a complex calendar system more accurate than any in Europe at the time, and created the concept of zero independently. Their cities were architectural marvels, with towering pyramids and palaces, all built without metal tools, wheels, or beasts of burden. For centuries, their culture, art, and science blossomed. But as we can know, what goes up must come down. The same factors that fuel a civilization's rise can often plant the seeds of its own destruction. Let's take the Roman Empire, one of the most powerful empires in history. At its peak, Rome controlled a vast territory stretching from Britain to the Middle East. They built aqueducts, roads, and cities that still stand today. Their legal system, the idea of innocent until proven guilty, forms the basis of many modern legal codes. They were the undisputed superpower of their time. So, what went wrong? It wasn't one single thing. It was a perfect storm of problems. The empire became too big to govern effectively. Imagine trying to send a message from Rome to a legion on the Scottish border. It took weeks. This made it hard to respond to threats and rebellions. The Romans also overstretched their resources. Constant wars were expensive, and they began to devalue their currency by mixing cheaper metals into their coins, leading to runaway inflation. The economy started to crumble from the inside. Then came the external pressures. Barbarian tribes, like the Goths and Vandals, began pushing against the empire's borders. For a long time, the mighty Roman legions held them back, but as the empire weakened internally, its defenses faltered. Political instability was another huge problem. In 150-year period, Rome had over 20 different emperors, most of whom were assassinated. With no stable leadership, the empire descended into chaos. Finally, disease played a role. Plagues swept through the empire, killing millions and crippling its workforce and army. It was a slow, painful decline, not a single dramatic event. By 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire was no more. What about the Maya? Their story is even more mysterious. Around 900 AD, they began abandoning their magnificent cities. The population plummeted, and the jungle reclaimed the stone pyramids. For a long time, historians were baffled. But now, we have some clues. A major factor seems to have been environmental degradation. The Maya practiced slash-and-burn agriculture, which worked when their population was small. But as their cities grew, they needed to clear more and more land for farming. This led to widespread deforestation and soil erosion. Evidence from lakebed sediments shows that this period was also marked by a series of prolonged, severe droughts. With less rain and damaged soil, their agricultural system collapsed. They couldn't feed their massive populations. Imagine the social and political fallout. People would have lost faith in their kings, who were supposed to mediate with the gods to ensure good harvests. This likely led to intense warfare between the city-states, as they fought over scarce resources. Starvation, war, and a loss of faith in their leaders created a domino effect, leading to the collapse of their society. The people didn't disappear. They just dispersed into smaller villages, leaving their once great cities to the jungle. And what about ancient Egypt? Their decline was a much slower burn, lasting over 1,000 years. Like Rome, they faced a combination of internal and external problems. A series of weak pharaohs led to political fragmentation. The power of the central government weakened, and local governors became more powerful, sometimes ruling their territories like independent kings. Economic problems, including droughts and famine, also strained the society. But the biggest factor was repeated invasions. The Sea Peoples, the Assyrians, the Persians, one after another, foreign powers conquered and ruled Egypt. While Egyptian culture was resilient and often absorbed its conquerors, each invasion chipped away at its strength and independence. The final blow came with Alexander the Great's conquest, which marked the beginning of the Hellenistic period. And finally, in 30 BC, after the death of Cleopatra, Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire, bringing 3 millennia of pharaonic rule to a definitive end. So what can we learn from all this? The stories of these ancient civilizations aren't just fascinating tales. They're cautionary ones. They show us that success is not permanent. We see common themes: environmental stress, whether it's deforestation in the Mayan lands or climate change affecting harvests; economic instability, like the inflation that plagued Rome; social and political breakdown, with weak leadership and internal conflicts; and external pressures, like invasions. No civilization collapses for a single reason. It is always a complex web of interconnected problems that build up over time until the system can no longer sustain itself. These ancient empires remind us of the delicate balance required to maintain a complex society. They teach us that even the mightiest can fall and that we should pay attention to the warning signs in our own world. The echoes of Rome, Egypt, and the Maya are a powerful reminder of both the incredible heights humanity can achieve and the fragility of our creations. Thanks for joining me on this journey through history. If you found this fascinating, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the past. Let me know in the comments which ancient civilization you find the most intriguing. See you next time.